No, I have already dropped 2 videos on this topic. Uh, both were just general conversations mid-gameplay or mid-queue play in case of one of them. So today is so today I'm going to straighten things out for you, so you understand how fucked you are currently. Because I feel it has not entirely sunk in yet for many people. And yes, I know that it is temporarily and that Dundee increased the speed of the process to gather results from it. But that does not matter one bit. Because they would have to drag out the process to last several days to even get close to making sense and working. Because if it takes days, the chance for death increases significantly, and you are most likely to get the most out of your dinosaur, as you will probably die before reaching that. Nesting often takes hours, at the very least 1 or 2 to raise the kids, and right now those 2 hours have become a valuable resource as you have an expiration date on your dinosaur. And I bet I can think of various other reasons. However, the point is, it's most likely not happening for it to take days, because it would equally be painstakingly long to be able to entomb and make actual use of the system. Don't think anybody would like that. So let me put you all on game. I have actually prepared several charts that I want to share and go over with. Okay, so a simple chart of how a dinosaur progresses. Now for you guys who don't know how it works, I'll be quick and simple about it. You start here. Whenever you select a dinosaur in the menu to play as, you will spawn as a juvie, short for juvenile of the species you have selected. Now as you do your best to survive, find food, water, shelter, you will slowly move through these stages, unlocking mutations as you progress to strengthen your dinosaur to your liking. Now once you reach adult, something interesting happens. The system inspects how you lived your life, what diet you had, etc. And then it determines if you have lived life healthy or poorly. And if you happen to have lived poorly, you will become a weak elder, which is essentially a grandpa dinosaur that is not able to keep up anymore with the rest. However, once the system deems you worthy, you get to be a prime elder, an absolute monster within your species. And after you reach the full potential, you are weaker. And in both cases, you can then entomb, because who would not want to kill themselves after seeing a stat drop like that? The only optional part about all of this is that Dundee is letting me pick between that and living like a fat old grandpa, since my weight seems to be the only thing that has increased. So I got the solution. It's extremely simple and fixes this whole fiasco. And it should be easy for the devs to change this, like no additional coding is really required here if you ask me. This is almost the same chart, but with only one change. I mean, really, it's only one change. That's why I said it's simple. All we have to do is change the part where Prime Elder in its decline is weaker than the full adult of the species, but to give it slightly better stats in comparison to it. This would easily work and still make the Prime Elder in its prime a thing you can enjoy with a more wilder increase on stats on it. It's kinda like being a sub-adult raptor and knowing you will never be this fast again for the rest of your life, but enjoying it nonetheless. Let me once again explain you guys how bad it is currently right now. I've made an example, right? Now I've made some imaginary stats, so if they're viable, yada yada, I really don't care. It's just to show you guys the math ain't mathing. So let's say we have a 1.5 ton creature, 45 kilometers, 175 byte force. Now if this thing goes through the loop, then Weak Elder becomes 1747 kilometers and 200 byte force. And in its decline it becomes 2000 kilograms, 40 kilometers and has 170 byte force. You did not do much in the game, you probably grew AFK in a bush of turtles or other non-diet food, and yeah, this is just your fate at that point. I find it a very fitting solution to AFK and easy growing. This is actually awesome. Alright, let's look at the Prime Elder that has got the real Prime in it. 1900 kilograms, 48 kilometers, 210 byte force, so slightly stronger than the Weak Elder in its prime. I like that. And then we have the last one in its decline, 2200, 46 kilometers, and 250 byte force. I'm not gonna lie, that looks pretty good, right? This looks quite amazing. There is only one problem with it. You have been looking at the wrong chart. You see, this is the actual chart. So, yeah, forget what I said about it looking good. This looks horrible. You cannot enjoy the dino you're cultivating, because in the end, even if you did everything correct, you still get punished with shitty stats. There's no point to nest. The way it's currently introduced, nesting will just amplify the issue of an infinite loop of growing to stay relevant. It could be used as a shortcut, but for what? To still be stuck in that loop? There's no end goal here. It's just eat, sleep, die, repeat. And while the loop already sorta was set up that way, there's a huge difference between dying like an idiot or walking off a cliff and you living your best life. And the game's saying like, well, you still die, or at the very least I'll make your stats so poor that you're gonna want to die, and then I'll slap it's optional on top of it. And then we have the question, like, what can't we just increase the time it takes for this to occur? Wouldn't that fix it? Yes, we could. However, this would fix things to some extent, and it would also amplify the issue, as you now invest even more time to get a shit reward in the end. And as I said in the start of the video, because if, that process takes days, the chance for dying increases significantly, which is a good thing because you will get the max out of your dinosaur until death, kind of, right? And if you survive really long, then it just feels like, oh damn, I reached this point and it's crazy. You're most likely getting the most out of your dinosaur. The other problem is nesting often taking hours, or at the very least 1 or 2 to raise the kids, and those hours are going to be very valuable now to, enjoy your dinosaur. And it would also equally be painstakingly long to be able to entomb and actually make use of the system if it would take days. So my advice would be this right here. Not only does the entire loop work, but it also makes nesting worth participating in as a prime elder, because, you're living your life. Which also is sort of realistic, because if I'm not mistaken, it's the prime dinosaurs that get mating rights in herds and groups, and equally the entomb system becomes a sick system to upgrade your dino slowly. Like, it's really awesome, very sick. The difference in stats on both the Elder and Prime Elder sets them apart, if only slightly, which is, in my opinion, also something that would be amazing. And everything is good on the world, just with this tiny little change. QA said that they don't want to keep it permanent, else they could have just buffed all the adults their stats. But to that I disagree. This system creates an incentive to play and not AFK. It gives a nice alternative to nesting, It also allows people to shortcut to the same plateau as their friends. And because of that entire checkup, you have a more complex outcome on the final adult version, where player decision and action make a significant impact on the way your dinosaur turns out. In my opinion, that is not even close to being the same as just buffing the adult stats. In this format, this new system is a hype. I'm just sad that this is what we have for now. Like, never mind nesting or even playing. Sorry to sound like a downer, but I do not see the point to get something horrible in the end. My old man is in his 80s, and let me tell you, not every elder is weak. Jeez. What I kind of expected out of it as the player is that I could make my dinosaurs slightly bigger and slightly stronger, and have a way, a method to build my dinosaur up from the ground into an abomination. And that really excited me to realize that it's all the same in the end. Kind of defeats something that could be its greatest weapon. Incentive to stop AFK growing and AFKing. And instead of taking something away from the game, it could add one of its most impressive systems by far, if presented correctly.